I'm about to receive a delivery from Smart Meds. I'm going to leave the camera running, but away from the door, so you can hear my delivery. You're not supposed to film people without their permission. Fuck, I can't do this legally. They're right to make that law. When he comes, I'll turn off the camera, and then I'll receive the delivery and I'll turn it back on, and that would be proper. Because it'd be fun to be like, oh, look, I got pizza. But since this is marijuana, it's not cool to record people without their permission. I have to consider that. I know I would be annoyed. Put myself in that person's shoes. It's like, yeah, that would probably would annoy me too. Okay, so I'll stop it when he comes. I'm smoking the shitty weed of mine. I'm waiting for something better. Oh. Such a sweetheart of a young man. Very nice. I go with Smart Meds. A very nice delivery service. Thank you. Prescriptions. See? So I got some of their soup shake. Soup shake. Yeah, it's a blend, but it's pretty stony because it's like all their really nice weed. And it's definitely got buds and stuff in it. In their ad, they say very good for blunts and joints and stuff. You know, assuming I have more money. And I got some Chem Dog. Because I'm really, really enjoying the Chem Dog. Gold link. I like how there's a gold chain on it. So funny. Whoop. Come on, camera. Chem Dog. Try to show the people. Oh, there we go. Got it. Got it. Okay. So I'm going to put a little bit of this and we'll begin. Hello and welcome to this edition of Wake and Bake News. And I'm your host, Shampoo VTA, Kelly Davis. And how are you? On this Thursday, the 4th of the 4th of August, 4th of July, 2016. This is a Freudian slip. The fair started yesterday, and they have fireworks at the fair. So in the back of my mind, thinking 4th of July. We went for a walk at the fair yesterday. So they have a free, bus ride from different locations. That way they don't have all the cars fucking showing up to the fairgrounds and just turning it into a nightmare on the freeway and everything. So they have school buses. They hire very nice school bus drivers so they can make a little extra money during this time of year. And they go and they pick up groups of people that park at like the state beach, or they park at some of the high schools and stuff. And then they're driven to the fairgrounds. And it's much easier than having everybody, pack in at the fairgrounds. Even though I don't think it's as big as it used to be. But it's hard to tell when they're doing it this way. So I'll show you the soup shake. Oh yeah, see? There's buddies in there. There's buds. Very, very nice. There's a couple of nice little nuggets right there I can show you. So they don't play around with this nice trim. Okay, so anyway, we went down there. We took the bus. This is like side story for Kelly while she's loading this bowl. She took the bus, went and got off the bus, walked right past the fairgrounds to the parking lot, and headed straight for the beach. And our intent was to just use the bus ride to go down and exercise, because we need to get our fat asses out and exercise. Okay, so we walked past the promenade that they had all blocked off for the fireworks, and then we walked all the way back to our house on Hilltop from there. And that was a really good walk. We both felt really good at the end of that walk. I was like, holy shit, we are in way better shape than I thought, because that's got to be, I don't know, let's see, 2 or 3 miles maybe. See if I can get a map. I mean, I'm going to guess it. I know that the walk along the promenade is at least 1.5 miles from Pierpont to the pier. Maybe it's a mile. So we must have walked a good 2 or 3 miles yesterday. But it was great. It felt great. I felt great. I was so happy. It was hot as shit. And I was wearing jeans, not even like running clothes and shit. And I'm like, you know what? I need to get my fucking fat ass fucking running again. This bitch motherfucking fighting for legalization has taken several months out of me, and dealing with my mother-in-law's shit and my own fucking menopause. And it's time to get my feet the fuck back under me health-wise, and my husband, and get us back out fucking, taking care of ourselves, which we met, massively tripped up on our game because there's just been so much bullshit. Well, you've seen. It's not like I fucking keep it from you, but there's just been so much dumb bullshit going on. Like, what's next? The plane's just going to crash into one of the buildings? I mean, just like, what the fuck kind of stuff has been going on? Oh my God, real marijuana. I mean, my weed gets you high and everything, but to taste decent marijuana, because this is a mix of their different strains. I miss good marijuana. I can afford the super expensive buds. Let's see, I'm looking at their site right now. I love Smart Meds. I'm so happy with them. But, I mean, their stuff's expensive. An eighth of Madam OG is $50. For me, that's expensive. Jedi OG, $50. But I remember when it was more expensive, so I remember when it was $60 an eighth every single time, no matter what the fuck you got. $60, $60, $60, $60, $60, $60, $60. This was before I became a patient. You're paying somebody, you go to somebody's house, $60 an eighth. No matter what it was, no matter how well it was grown, $60 an eighth. It was like a flat rate. So I've actually spent a lot higher for a lot shittier buds. It's nice to have something that tastes good. Oh. Okay, so I've gone through here and I've recorded a whole bunch of really interesting stories that came up today. So the one I'm going to begin with is Native American Oregon. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It is about Native Americans. That's a side note. Actually, I should tell you about this story. Reason.com has a story. Native American Oregon teen, she's 19, busted for 1 gram of weed. They faces federal charges. They want to put her in like a federal prison for a year for 1 gram of weed, and she's like American Indian. Like, that's just why, so it's so stupid that it's actually made it to Reason.com, and now the libertarians are going to make fun of it too, because it's just fucking dumb, and I think any state that starts doing this kind of stupid behavior is just opening themselves up to massive ridicule. All right, so what I'm going to read for you is Puyallup Tribe pursuing medical marijuana growing after signing a deal with the state. So here is one of the tribal peoples that are able to actually move forward with medical marijuana, grow and explore this as a medicine, and they're going to be part of this. And I think this is exactly the kind of social justice that marijuana smokers should be fighting for. Is look at how they use this against anybody that's poor or brown, especially brown, not just black, not just in New York City, not just Hispanics in Los Angeles, not just Hispanics in Ventura County, but fucking Indians on Indian reservations. I mean, racism is some evil bullshit. It is now my mission for the rest of my life to fight it, because it's just beyond. I think that maybe my activism in marijuana has now led me to this fight against racism, because it is just prevalent everywhere. And I'm pissed as hell that you're using this stuff, this stupid plant, to promote your fucking evil, disgusting racism. And really, I'm gonna fucking become like a knight and fucking go after you with like a sword. Justice, because this is bullshit. Everywhere I read in this marijuana fight, somehow race stinking ism raises its ugly, filthy, fucking wretched head. It's gross. Okay.
Madison Creek Analytics, the Puyallup Tribe of Indians, I-502 certified cannabis testing lab. We do cannabis quality assurance testing, potency cannabinoids, terpenes, residual solvents, mycotoxins, heavy metals, pesticides, full service cannabis testing, quality assurance lab.
Talk about your desire to get into medical marijuana and why.
Cancers hit the Puyallup Tribe in a hard way. And with that, it's just taken that idea into perhaps there's a way that cannabis can help alleviate some of those symptoms and actually look into the world of cancer. We know it can help with nausea. We know it can help with relieving pain, all in a good way. It's just a natural plant. And it seems to fit in with the way we think as far as natural remedies and stuff, cures have been used for a long time.
But talk about your beginning stages of growing medical marijuana, essentially, right, on tribal land.
Yeah, so that will be a first. The first I know of in the country. And we just got some incredible staff that worked hard in this deal and bringing up some different ideas, as well as working with the Washington State Liquor Cannabis Control Board, who have watched how we've developed our plan. So it's gone in a really good way.
It was very interesting how the gentleman said that, exploring this kind of a medicine, a natural plant, goes along with their belief system. That is really what it boils down to. It's not that herbal remedies or, home cures and stuff like that have this amazing validity. The problem is that pharmaceutical companies and big time companies have an invested interest in making this a gate that you cannot go through on your own without them. That if you and your family want to live, you need to play ball with them. That's why everything's in a pill. That's why the pill is kind of the symbol for this time period, because it shows you that it's like telling you that you're encapsulated in this life. You're in that pill, and you're never supposed to come out of there. And yeah, it's keeping you alive and healthy, but you are now beholden to the people that create the system that creates that pill in order to survive, because they've taken away the process of saving your own life from you, just like they're trying to take away the ability to grow your own food, have your own water. Who doesn't have a plastic water bottle now? They've successfully monetized water. What's next? Air. Water should be a human right. If it is such a problem, that everybody in my town has to buy plastic water bottles to fucking live every day here, then that should be a human right and free, because that's wrong. You can't, I'm paying for water twice. I pay for water at the tap that's practically undrinkable, and I pay for water from a store that I have to ship in every week so that my family has water that I feel safe they can drink. Or I'm a slave to a Brita filter. That shit is fucking evil. I'm very unhappy about it. Some rich guy said a while ago they were going to monetize water. Well, they sure the fuck did. This world's going to be slightly enslaved by people like that before I go. But I think more and more people are beginning to see what I'm saying. Watch out. This is really the future. We're going to have robots and stuff. So it could be either wonderful or frighteningly dystopic. It's up to you what kind of B science fiction movie this is going to be. If you sit around on your ass, this could end up being a dystopic fucking nightmare, because you bet your bippy that the evil people are going to try their best to use all these modern technologies to trap you in a pill, in a capsule that's time released, that may have side effects. So I thought it was very interesting, this guy talking about the difference between, he recognizes that his people believe in a more natural approach, a holistic approach to healing, while so much of the European-based medical community honestly does not believe in that. How many of fucking doctors do you know? They probably ride a bike every weekend. They probably got a $5,000 bike. They ride with fucking $500 fucking little skimpy tight shorts to show off their ass while they ride down the fucking street inhaling carbon monoxide. I'm sure that they have all that shit. They go to the golf course, they lift weights, they surf. Anything that's within an urban area. But you think, how many of them know anything about fucking gardening or nature? Or anything outside of their little fucking protected upbringing in their little fucking colleges, in their little fucking protected world. Silver spoon-fed world. So talking to them about a natural healing, of course, they're going to have somewhat of an idea, but not a complete and healthy idea of what that existence would look like. Living off the grid, being your own grid in the community with solar panels, living a healthier lifestyle for real, not just pretend, because the sick people make you money. Sure, I'll cure you. And then you run right back out there and eat all the shit and drink all the shit that made you sick. And I'll see you again in 2 or 3 years. Just like the dentist. Sure, I'll fix your teeth. Then you run right back out there and chew gum and fucking drink all the soda you want. Because you'll be back. Ooh. Who expanded? It's ranty time. Okay, so fun rant, because I just noticed that guy said exactly what I've been saying. You have to recognize that the entire medical community is built up from the educational system and the pharmaceutical companies and, those big corporations that help to promote those schools, that train doctors. What do you think they're training them to do? Go out in the Amazon and learn from a dude, a witch doctor, not unless it's going to bring that fucking pharmaceutical company money and they can somehow stuff it in a pill and copyright it and stamp it and slap it and put it in a box and fucking shape it into a square and shove it into a hole so they can control every goddamn aspect of it. And label and stamp and regulate. Isn't that exactly what marijuana growers are arguing against? Why do people have these feelings? They're real. The medical profession saves our lives. I've seen it save people's lives. But on the other hand, they force you to be beholden to a plastic world. And I think that people would have less fear of regulation and fear of labeling and restrictions and, you know, having medical schools and having them tied to pharmaceutical corporations or whatever, having all of this be sort of a incestuous relationship would be a little bit less easier to stomach if it wasn't so vilely plastic. But every aspect of it involves some kind of a plastic feeling of separateness. Like you're going into an alien spaceship and about to be probed. You've left the ground where the dirt is and trees and normal things that you recognize as a human, and you're taken into a sterile, you know, environment with people looking over you that know more than you do and have your fate in their hands, and you don't know what their motives truly are. Same kind of experience. No wonder so many people in rural areas back in the 60s thought that they were being kidnapped by aliens. They probably were having nightmares about their tonsillectomy they had when they were 10 or something, because the entire experience is terribly jarring. And they try very hard to make it less jarring. They're very professional. It's the way the system's set up that causes it to trip up. It's because they don't know anything. How do I say it? They're specialized. Even amongst themselves, they're specialized. This guy's a podiatrist. That person is a family physician. This person's eye, nose, ears, and throat. Well, if you put them in a cocktail party together, they would understand what each other's talking about once they start talking shop. But up to a point, the language becomes so their own and specialized that the foot doctor's not going to know what the fucking ear, eye, nose, and whatever throat doctor's even talking about. And the family practitioner is going to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Because everything is so specialized, and those specializations cost you more money. All of that is part of a system that is failing. Information and knowledge has to be available to everybody, because you don't know where that answer may come from. And you can't just believe in a system that has halls and doorways and desks and chairs and chalkboards and nonsense like this to cough up your leadership or the people that come up with the most innovative idea. Because that is not the natural world, and that is not how nature works, and this is how we are all going up our own ass here with this shit. No one likes going to the hospital. Why? Because it feels horrible. The entire experience is not just the fear of death. Many people have stood in the graveyard and not felt so creeped out as hospitals. It's because of the needles, the pain, the blood, the separation, like it's an alien spaceship about to suck you up with a bright light and do things to you that you can't control, and you will always be stuck with the horrifying memories of. They're doing the best they can to make that experience less jarring. But I think this person in the Native American tribe recognizes what I have begun to recognize, which is no wonder those places creep us out so much. We recognize at a very visceral way that this is not natural, and therefore something is askew with it. And that's why we are discomforted by it. The hallways, the corners, the edges, nothing is organic. Nothing is natural. Nothing. You got to bring in dogs and shit and clowns and stuff to ease people fucking down, because hospitals themselves are boxes, you know, not in line with the natural order of things. And you just viscerally react to that, which makes the healing process even more difficult. So I just thought it was interesting that he pointed that out. I wanted to kind of go into that. This is the same thing with art and everything else. It is Europe versus Asia, or, you know, the dark continents, or Africa, or someplace that some idea or science or whatever comes from. They can't get credit for that. We can only fucking pay attention to what the white people have contributed to this society, because those people have never contributed anything. Yet we rob their fucking cultures and slap our fucking names on it and go, yep, see, that was our idea. Aren't we so cool? Everybody pat ourselves on the back for that. It's, you know, with everything, it's not just medicine. There is this total, bizarre, retarded bigotry that is a complete waste of time for everybody and probably costs Americans lives all the time. And we're just not getting those numbers. I mean, how the hell are you supposed to quantify such a thing? That your idiocy barking up the wrong damn tree all the time is actually, your numbers of success could be a hell of a lot higher. But you're such a fucking derp, you know? And you don't look at the system and think about how to change it. You just want to, you just phone it in every day. Just good enough so you can go sailing on your little fucking yacht. The one with the most toys at the end wins. That's what life is to you. Okay, so the next story actually was like a lot of ranting about that. I just thought that was really interesting. I remember a chiropractor making this very convincing argument to me that the reason why chiropractors are not seen as real doctors is because they can't prescribe drugs, and only real doctors prescribe pills. And now governments do, and your education system tells you that your child needs to be on Ritalin or some drug so their behavior in the classroom is more under control and more in line with the boxy, you know, control system of you're supposed to be my puppet that everybody wants to create for us. Smash everything into a fucking square, you know, round peg into a square hole. You will fit. They'll make you, you know. All right. Oh. All right, so the next one I'm going to go into is the Sacramento Bee marijuana legalization campaign sues over ballot arguments, and this just came out today. And at the beginning of reading this, I thought, oh, this is a great way for them to advertise what they're doing. You know, they're going to come out and sue because whenever you have a ballot vote, you have to have, this is what the ballot would do. It has to be very short. So it's you know, it's very imperfect way for someone to find out what the goddamn ballot measure is about right there in the voting booth with other people waiting in line for you to move your ass along. And you're fucking worried about poking chads and shit or whatever, or coloring bubbles. I don't know. Okay? So no, that is just a really poor way to try to get your message out. So you try to hit the bullet points, boom, it will do this, blah, blah. And then the people that are opposed to it, they get a paragraph too. And it will be blah, you know, this is bad because blah, 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 blah. Okay? And usually people try to play things up. They always try to play things up. So when I heard about this suing, I was like, actually, this is a really brilliant way to get, you know, free advertisement. Because the lawsuit will go through. They'll probably have this knocked out. They certainly have the money to go after them. And I thought, how bad could the language really be? I think I even said that. Oh my God. They are straight up lying, which makes them vulnerable to attack. Wow. This is a major strategic, stupid move on their part that is going to play out so well for AUMA and Prop 64. It's going to play out just for us because they outright and bold-faced lied about what the proposition actually says in their arguments. Therefore, they will lose the court case sometime before the election, and a court will literally say the opponents to AUMA have lied to you and misrepresented their arguments. That's a devastating knockout blow to their side. So let's read. Okay, this is SacramentoBee.com. Capital Alert. Marijuana legalization campaign sues ballot arguments. They would do this anyway because we're the proponents. Okay, the opponents are going to say a bunch of shit that's lies. this way they can draw some money out of your campaign into a lawsuit trying to sue to get their, language clarified that marijuana is not the devil or Satan or whatever they put in there. But they've got easily the money to win. Such an easy lawsuit. I mean, it's basically going to be bip bappity boo and it's over with. And then they're going to use it as a way to raise more money for their campaign and advertise. It's free advertisement. These guys are fucking so smart. I'm not even sure probably the language that the opponent said was even that big a deal, but we'll have to find out. But if you look at it, riding on this sled is a beautiful video of Gavin Newsom, how Gavin Newsom is convincing his wife to support legal pot, and add that they don't have to pay for because it's now news. These guys are so smart. We're so going to win this thing.
I think
It'll load eventually.
the facts. I think it was interesting.
Someday.
She was very interestingly persuaded yesterday when I sent her the article about teen use actually going down in Colorado over the last few years. She never would have believed that.
A lot of people in Fillmore don't.
point
A lot of people in Fillmore
of
apparently
emphasis
don't believe
I've
that.
been making to her.
This must be a very popular article.
That it's still illegal for kids to use cannabis.
Yeah, like, hello, genius. It's also illegal for them to drive cars and to steal. Look at his face. He's like, I don't know how to tell the stupid people, but it's still illegal for children to partake of marijuana. I'm sorry to tell you this, dipwad from Fillmore with a boat shop. This is the kind of fun we're going to get to have, man. Oh, man, this is going to be a great campaign because now we have the scientific proof because we have legal states that the experiment is working. It's bringing in millions of dollars, and we just, get to use that as a
We are not
bat.
changing that. You cannot legally use this drug under the age of 21 today.
It's
And
hard
you
to
won't be able
explain
after
to
it passes.
dummies.
And that vast majority of the money in this initiative targets our kids.
Yeah.
Goes right back. I mean, billions and billions of dollars over the next decade will go right back into youth prevention programs, education programs, alternative programs, and opportunities. So that's how you begin to, I think, persuade people like my wife, who I get are concerned, and as a parent myself, I express a similar concern, and that's why we put this process of this Blue Ribbon Task Force together so early.
I can understand that concern up to where actually there's science, but when science comes out, it's like that concern should go away with the belief that Sasquatch exists, because that's basically what you sound like now. That you think the stork brings babies for, that's how the babies are made. Oh no, stop doing that. Okay. So California campaign to legalize recreational marijuana filed a lawsuit Thursday in Sacramento Superior Court asking a judge to disallow several of what it deemed false or misleading statements submitted by opponents as their official ballot arguments. Ballot arguments, which appear in the voter information guide, are important because few voters have the time or interest to read an entire measure. While there are often disputes over language, it's uncommon for campaigns to seek court intervention. Tim Rosals, a spokesman for the opposition campaign, dismissed the claims a silly season political stunt born of desperation, and suggested that they may challenge misstatements of fact by the pro-legalization side. Now, wait a second. Okay, Tim Rosals, this is an act of desperation from a campaign that has you outgunned 40 times in money. This is the act of a desperation that has Gavin Newsom, who is going to be the next governor of California, on its side. What are you even talking about, dude? You know what sounds desperate? Saying that, okay? Secretary of State Alex Padilla has said legal challenges over measures on November 8th ballot must be completed by August 15th. The proponents want a judge to reject or order substantially amendment to a number of arguments against Proposition 64, including the contention that children would be exposed to advertisements promoting marijuana, gummy candies, and brownies, because that's an outright fucking lie. They don't even allow those kind of advertisements in Colorado. That is an outright fucking lie. That is not what this is intended to do. This is the kind of trash that that campaign is trying to put forward. You know what? I'm totally not surprised. This is a very Donald Trump kind of a thing, isn't it? Fear mongering, right? They're going to build a wall between you and the marijuana. Seriously, these people are scum. These people that are against this are scum, and they're going to say any lie to get you to go with them. You know, they're going to lie to you, and they're going to lie to you about your children. These people are fucking scum, and now they're trying to take away money that could help kids and help schools and even help the police departments. These people are fucking scum. Let's see. The proponents want a judge to reject or order substantially amendments to a number of arguments against Prop 64, including the one about children being exposed to marijuana advertisements. That's a fucking lie. Jason Kenney, a spokesman for the legalization campaign, said the fall measure bars the sales of marijuana products designed to be appealing to children or easily confused with traditional candies. So that's a fucking lie. They are telling a fucking lie. Okay? That's what all these backers that are against Prop 64 are now going to sell you. Lies. Lies, and guys with badges telling you anecdotes about their last 30 years in the police force, which was all under the height of prohibition. So of course they're going to say that. Proponents also take issue with arguments that the measure would repeal consumer protections passed last year and signed into law by Jerry Brown, and that it would roll back and the complete ban of smoking ads on TV. Exactly. These people are just lying now. They really wanted to say all this stuff. Wow, I thought it would be nothing, but I had no idea the willingness of the opponents to 64, the willingness to which they would go to lie. I am so glad I'm reading this story, because this is exactly the kind of now complete outright lies that are being argued here in Ventura County against regulation. And these are absolute and complete outright lies about this proposition. So now you know. So if your police officer or your teacher is telling you these lies, now you know. They're either stupid or they're playing along because somehow they get money out of this and they got word that this is the talking points. And now I know there are people in Fillmore, there are people in our police department here in Ventura that got the word from on high that this is the talking points. This is the lie. Push the lie. Wow. Now I know who the bad guys are. Wow. Jason Kenney, a spokesman for the legalization campaign, said the fall measure bars the sale of marijuana products designed to appeal to children. So that is just an outright lie they're telling. Proponents also take issue with arguments that the measure would repeal consumer protections passed last year. More so than any I've seen in recent memory, Kenney said. In the statement, the opponents fundamentally and factually misrepresent this ballot measure and are riddled with obvious falsehoods. These aren't evidence-based arguments. They are scare tactics. Not only that, but when you win this case, it will prove that their arguments are absolute shit. And that's going to kill them in this election. And it'll come out just before the election. It'll probably come out before the election. Wow. Because they have to have it changed. And if they get you to change, and these guys were stupid enough to tell lies. Don't you see? You played right into their hands when you lied. Wow. How stupid. And they let you tell those lies, and then they set up the lawsuit. Then they'll beat you in court, and the court will say that you're lying. And all of California will hear that. That's the biggest fucking ad you could put out for Proposition 64. Wow. You fucked up when you started to lie. Wow. What a stupid... Talk about desperation. Wow. This is huge. And they're sadly reminiscent of the Reefer Madness style disinformation campaigns that subverted honest dialogue around this issue for decades. Yeah, no kidding. And everybody slowly woke up to that. And you just played that broken record over again? Wow. Wow. This is not just a loss. This is a total devastation. In a statement rebuting the arguments, the Proposition 64 campaign, which is supported by billionaire entrepreneur Sean Parker and Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom and many other billionaires, like hotel owners, like big hotel owner is doing this. There's a bunch of other people that are putting money into this. But the main supporter is billionaire Sean Parker, who doesn't have any sort of a financial interest in this outside of he's part of the tech community, and the tech community will benefit from secondary industries, like apps and stuff. He doesn't personally have an app, but eventually all boats will float to the surface because of this. Okay, so Gavin Newsom contends federal law bans tobacco smoking advertisements on television and makes it illegal to use TV broadcasting to plug the sale of marijuana. Bingo. Bingo. Bingo, bingo, bingo. They wouldn't even let that stupid fucking vaporizer commercial stay on TV very long, and that guy was just sucking out of a fucking lighter with a little blue light at the end. Remember that guy doing those ads? Well, he's not doing those ads anymore, and those ads aren't allowed on TV because they had to regulate some of that stuff because that was unregulated. This is regulated, you idiot. Oh my God. People are so stupid in California. I don't know what to do. We're supposed to be this progressive state filled with intelligent people, but there's so much of this old-fashioned derp thinking from our conservative Nixon-Reagan days left over. We seriously have to smash it with a bat. It's like, please get the fuck off us. We just want to move forward now, away from the derp. And you're the derp, pal. Okay. And rather than repeal, the proponents assert that their measure builds on the sweeping medical marijuana guidelines signed last year by Brown. Exactly. The way this law is written is it totally fits together like a puzzle piece with the regulations written in for medical marijuana. So now they're trying to make medical marijuana patients afraid and lie to them and all this kind of shit, and go away. Stop. We've been through this. You're dumb. You're dumb. Go away. Rosebud. Why don't you go ride Rosebud down a snowy hill there, pal? Because that's what that's worth. That's yellow, dumb ass type journalism, stupid fucking thinking. Oh my God, people are so stupid in California. Okay, California was the first state to allow medical marijuana. Now, 2 decades later, voters are expected to be asked whether to legalize recreational use of the drug. Thank God there are many Californians who are not as stupid as the people in Ventura County. The legalization measure headed for the statewide November ballot is the product of months of, I'm assuming, blah, blah, blah. And then 15 things to know about California marijuana proposition. What would it do? If the proposition ends up on the November ballot, it would legalize recreational marijuana for those 21 and older. You can possess up to an ounce, cultivate, and whatever. These are going by terribly fast. Can I grow my own? Yes, up to 6 plants. You probably only need 4. What about the kids? Marijuana businesses could be within 600 feet. Couldn't be within 600 feet, which would mean they would be banned from most places in your cities. yeah, your workplace would still be allowed to fire you, which would be stupid, but hey, you know, people are still allowed to be dumb. Yeah, pretty much nothing really big. The sky wouldn't fall, so Chicken Little just needs to shut up and go away. Perhaps get in a time machine, go back to like the 1970s. Maybe you'd feel more comfortable there. Or in the 1980s with all the really hard crackdowns on black neighborhoods and Hispanic neighborhoods. You know, all that racism back then when the conservatives were riding high, destroying the country. Maybe you should get in a fucking time machine and go back there, because that's where your prohibitionist ass belongs. Okay, so my next story is about Humboldt County again. And this is voting yes on Humboldt County cannabis excise tax will be cultivating county prosperity, according to proponents. A very interesting article. This was very interesting to read. And it shows that what's going on in Humboldt County is just amazing. I mean, it's just compared to 2010, it's amazing. You know, it's just even more good news for AUMA, because they're actually considering investing in the future of this proposition passing. And they've taken a neutral stance, when before they were very active in defeating Proposition 10 or Proposition 19, which was legalizing marijuana back in 2010. It was the, and I say this in reading it, that it was the Baptists and the bootleggers. It was conservatives like in Ventura County that voted in the exact same numbers as growers in Humboldt County against that proposition. And that ensured that Humboldt County growers could create profits, and the market would go mostly unregulated up until recently, when Jerry Brown signed in the new regulations for medical marijuana, which will go fully into effect in 2018. Okay. So they were successful in blocking something that was flawed, but certainly would have cut into their black market profits. So once again, the Baptists and the bootleggers played together the same song and came up with the same results. The bootleggers continued to get to use marijuana as a boogeyman, and the Baptists get to use marijuana as a boogeyman, as a recruiting tool for their belief system. And then the growers up north get to continue to make money off the black market. And we've seen the black market proliferate hugely, particularly in this area of Ventura. The more locked down they are, the more they're not. And they're not making a dime off of it. They're asking you for a tax raise, you know, for a sales tax raise. You know. They want you to pony it up. So let's look at voters in Humboldt are talking about this proposition. KimKemp.com. Voting yes on Humboldt County cannabis excise tax will be cultivating county prosperity, according to proponents. Kim Kemp. To tax or not to tax, that is the question. On August 9th, the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors will vote to place a cannabis excise tax on the November ballot Sunday. We posted a press release from Humboldt County Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, which opposes the measure. Several of proponents recently approached us to give their reasons for backing the tax. Patrick Murphy of California Cannabis Voice Humboldt and Emerald Family Farmers summed up the basic pro-cannabis tax argument by saying that the tax will improve the quality of life for all residents of Humboldt County. The tax will provide the funds necessary for cultivating county prosperity, he argued during a conference call yesterday. Natalie Delap, the executive director of the Environmental Protection Information Center, or EPIC, agreed with him. The rising tide floats all ships, she said. Right now, she argues Humboldt County government is chronically short of money. If we do not bring money into the county, there will be $10 to $20 to $30 million shortfall. Okay, I'm going to stop again. Now, here again, isn't it interesting that the people that are at the top of a county or a city seem to be trying to keep out jobs and opportunities from people that need them? Fillmore, someone with a boat business, complains that he doesn't want to have children exposed. Kids that drive cars in the middle of the night, apparently go steal marijuana, to be exposed to marijuana. Kids shouldn't be driving cars. That's illegal. All of those things are illegal. What's wrong with your police force? Don't they work? Perhaps you should worry about that. But maybe they're not supposed to work. Maybe some of these rich people in communities like Ventura County, Fillmore, and now Humboldt, some of these community leaders don't want you to have opportunities. They don't want you as competition. That's what's really going on. They're not interested in your prosperity. They're interested in their prosperity and the prosperity for their political friends. And you're not among them, like I'm not, like people in Fillmore are not among the wealthy's political friends. Big business leaders that get voted into city councils. Very interesting, very instructive. All right. We are chronically short of money. If we do not bring money into the county, there will be a $10 to $20 to $30 million shortfall. I don't know why, but apparently city leaders don't care much about those issues. She argues, will force cuts in mental health services, law enforcement, fire departments, etc. The cannabis excise tax, she said, will collect money from marijuana growers that can be used to improve the lives of everyone. And isn't this interesting that all of these places are locations like, for instance, Fillmore, Ventura County, and Humboldt are all places that promote the sale of lottery tickets to help the schools. I guess some sins are okay, just not others. Why aren't they worried that children are playing the lottery? Children are gambling. Children are stealing to buy lottery tickets because that's ridiculous. That's all regulated, just like this would be. You see what's going on here? I'm starting to see what's going on here. All right. This, she argues, will force the cuts in mental health services, law enforcement, fire departments. The cannabis excise tax, she said, will collect money from marijuana growers that can be used to improve the lives of everyone. Is that your leadership's intent, to improve the lives of everyone, or just perhaps the intent to improve their lives and their political friends, and fuck you? The language of the proposed tax is fairly simple. You can read it in a minute. Eureka law firm Jansen and Malloy posted it on their blog site. We've shared it below. Humboldt County commercial marijuana cultivation measure to maintain and improve essential services, including public safety, job creation, crime investigation, prosecution, environmental cleanup, restoration, child, family, mental health, drug rehabilitation, other county services, shall Humboldt County establish a $1 to $3 per square foot based upon type of grow annual commercial marijuana cultivation tax generated approximately $7.3 million annually until ended by voters, with all revenues for the county, none for the state, annual audits and public review. Question. One of the concerns that Humboldt County Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, or HCCCC, brought up in the early press release is that though the measure calls for the money gathered to go to drug rehabilitation, environmental cleanup, mental health services, etc., the current way the measure is structured means that the money can't actually be targeted to certain problems. It must go into the general fund. Isaiah O'Donnell, president and co-owner of Northern Empire Organics and an executive board member. Executive board members of Humboldt County or Cannabis Business Alliance argues that while this isn't ideal, it is necessary. He pointed out that the way our county works is that the tax can be passed if only one of two ways. One way, he said, requires that you get 66% of the vote, and only then you can dictate where the money is spent. The other way requires only a simple majority of voters, but then the money raised must go into the general fund to be decided how to be spent later. They're absolutely right. This protects all Californians in small cities like even where I live, Ventura, from having crazy taxes levied against us. You have to get a 66% vote. That's what the city here in Ventura is trying to get with their 1% sales tax or whatever it is, which I'm not willing to give them because they won't grow up and regulate marijuana like adults. They want to play a game, so they suffer. Okay, O'Donnell said he believes that the supervisors will make sure the money is spent in a way that are most needed. We feel like our supervisors are working with the cannabis industry, he explained. With the correct amount of lobbying, we can get them to spend where it needs to be spent. We can create a boom cannabis economy. HCCCC's press release worried that small farmers would be hurt by imposing a tax as they struggle to come from the black market into the legal world of permits and fees. Patrick Murphy, even though he is pro the cannabis excise tax, said, "I believe the craft mom and pop farmers should be exempt or have a really reduced rate." Yet he pointed out, we see that an excise tax is popping up in every single county, and some are very alarming. $1 per square foot is very fair. It doesn't get any lower. I agree with that. Hezekiah Allen, executive director of the California Growers Association, stated, "It is a reasonable rate and reasonably tax program. Humboldt County has done a great job. It is a great public policy in action. Larger commercial growers will be paying their fair share." A sampling of counties around the state shows the proposed Humboldt tax is on the low end. Yolo and Calaveras counties are about double Humboldt's rate, Sacramento Bee states. Calaveras County voters are expected to vote on a marijuana tax in November that would impose a $2 per square foot annual levy on outdoor commercial gardens. The vast majority of the county's cultivation and $5 per square foot fee on indoor grows. But other areas have even higher proposed taxes, according to the California Normal article, which worries that high taxes could kill California's golden ganja goose. Some of the proposed fees are 25 times as much, the writer states. Well, here's the argument for that. So many of these conservatives have argued for years that California loves regulations and often regulates away large businesses that could bring a booming economy and jobs. And look who's regulating now. Because I believe that Calaveras and some of these other counties that have higher tax rates are more conservative. So aren't they over-regulating away jobs and opportunities for their community? Exactly what they're constantly arguing that the Democrats do. I think you've got a little political fodder to beat them upside their heads with. Let's see, would kill the golden ganja goose. Some of the proposed fees are 25 times as much, the writer states. Cathedral City, which is proposing charging $25 per square foot cultivated plus $1 for every gram of cannabis concentrate. Apparently, they are not conservatives who believe in deregulation over there in Cathedral City. Apparently, those aren't real Republicans. and every unit of cannabis-infused products, the Colinga, which is set to enact a 25 per square foot tax for the first 3,000 square feet and a $10 per square foot thereafter. Monterey County, which just voted to put a measure taxing farmers at $15 per square foot and automatically raising the rate to 20 in 2020 and 25 in 2021. In addition, the monetary proposal would tax nurseries $2 and $5 per square foot and gross receipts at 5 to 10%. Now here is where the market plays in. Those places that have high taxation and high levies against marijuana growers are not going to see an increase in this industry. They will be left behind because they will have regulated those businesses away from them. Just as they, the conservatives, many of these counties conservative, always claim that California overregulates things. So that's absolutely right. California overregulates things, particularly in conservative counties that don't like marijuana. Even though the tax is lower than in other areas, Murphy believes the money brought in can help the area. Humboldt County is a great place to live, he said, but we think we can do better. Recently, he stopped in Napa County. Quality of life is higher here, he said. He thinks the cannabis tax, Humboldt's quality of life, would also improve. Are small problems up here that can only be solved by funding, he argued. Within 5 to 10 years of the cannabis tax being implemented, we could reach comparability with Napa. And that's another thing. Like I said yesterday in my show, that the DNC mail leaks, with the WikiLeaks release of the DNC, emails, shows that places like the wine industry in Napa Valley is actively trying to push these lies about the dangers to children and the dangers of drug driving and all this nonsense that is not actually scientifically based, but is skewing of numbers, because any accident where the person tests positive for marijuana was an accident caused by marijuana, and that's not what those tests indicate. The police have already admitted that they do not currently have a test that can test for intoxication at the moment. So how can those supposed numbers coming out of Colorado be correct? They're not. It's a numbers game. They're playing a numbers game. So who is stating this stuff? Here's the money, is alcohol pharmaceutical companies. Here's the money with the message. And who do you hear saying the message? Police officers in Fillmore, or conservatives in Fillmore, or fucking people in Ventura County, or police chiefs in Ventura County. These are the people that are literally saying the exact same things that the alcohol companies are pushing. Gee, I wonder who's funding that. I wonder who's funding Smart Approach to Marijuana. I really wonder where all this money's coming from, because I have a feeling if America found out, they would find out that there is some scummy shit going on. HTC press release pointed out that the laws are written, doesn't account for bad years that might cause crop failure. They argue that the tax should be based on actual volume of production produced and sold, rather than cultivation areas, due to the unforeseen yield, hardship, and success. Essentially, the pro-supporters' response that the tax is low enough, as O'Donnell said, that even having a really bad run, a farmer should be able to afford the cost. O'Donnell argues we have the lowest funded schools in the state. We need to fund infrastructure. He states that even though growers have contributed to the community through donations, it is time for growers to pay taxes like every other business and every other citizen in California. Don't think it doesn't irk me that somebody who makes a little bit of money in a job where at least there is a job, and I'm living in a county where there aren't any jobs, especially not marijuana jobs, is telling me that this is going to hurt their bottom line. I'm kind of, annoyed with that. because I have to pay taxes. So my last story is from normal.org, and it's very interesting because it's about marijuana seizure declines in 2015. But at the end, we're going to look at this chart together. And the chart is terribly telling about the marijuana situation across the country and why the DEA would be very interested in keeping the war on drugs going, or have been for so long, because they, apparently make a bundle, bundle off of marijuana prohibition. They make, holy shit, they make a lot of money. So I'm going to read this to you. DEA marijuana seizures decline in 2015. Here's an extremely interesting story from Normal about the DEA marijuana seizures declining in 2015, particularly in California. Seizures of indoor and outdoor cannabis crops by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, fell in 2015, according to an annual data compiled by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. According to the DEA's Domestic Cannabis Eradication Suppression Statistical Report, agents eradicated 4.25 million marijuana plants nationwide in 2015. That total is slightly less than the total reported by the agency for the years 2014, 4.3 million, and continues to the ongoing decline in eradication totals since 2010, when the agency reported eliminating some 10.3 million plants. As in past years, DEA eradication efforts largely focused on California. Of the total number of plants seized nationwide by the DEA in 2015, 62% were in California. Only about 7% of all plants seized by the DEA were from indoor grows. The DEA reported making some 6,300 arrests in conjunction with their cannabis eradication efforts, a total that mirrors 2014 figures. By contrast, the agency reported making nearly 10,000 marijuana arrests in 2010 and about 8,000 arrests in 2011. Tables from the 2015 report are online here, and that's what I would like to show you. Just a moment. Drop my lighter. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna, or the next thing we're gonna do, is I'm gonna show you me. Hello, I'm here smoking pot, but I'm not recording on this Logitech camera. I'm just using the image while I use this other thing. Microburst. So, what we're going to look at now is the chart that was offered up from the DEA about their bus. Let's take a look at this. So here it says a total eradication outdoor grows, total cultivation plants outdoor, total eradication indoor grows, total cultivation plants indoor, total cultivation plants outdoor and indoor, bulk processed marijuana, number of arrests, arrests seized, value, weapons seizure. So as you can see, Arizona, for instance, asset seizure valued, oops, what is this going on here? Go away. Asset seizure valued at, is that 2 million? You know, wow, for Arizona, for California, is that like $7 million right there? I was like, holy shit, look at that, how much money they make off of California. Florida, is that 3 million? I mean, holy crap. Georgia, 290,000. Okay, so in total, you can see at the bottom of asset forfeiture, it's 29-705-902.43. Now, if you were looking for a motive for an organization to not want to end the prosecution of marijuana across the nation, I think that number right there, being annually pumped into your governmental department would be the motive. That's a smoking gun right there. Look how much money they make off of this. And look how little of this they actually get accomplished. And look at the states that they're actually doing this in. For instance, Colorado. Colorado has 0 assets seized. Alaska, 0 assets seized because they're legal. California, that has not legalized yet, the DEA is literally stealing this money from citizens in the state. They're taking this money from you. Do you think this somehow goes back into helping the state? No. Education? No. Infrastructure? No. Jobs? No. Just for them and their political buddies. Now, if you look at some of the indoor cultivation, Colorado, total eradicated indoor grow sites 2. Total cultivation plants indoors 527. You can compare California to Colorado. 2000, is that 2000? Yeah, blah, 6, whatever it is. But way bigger than fucking Colorado. Not a numbers person. Just very interesting, very reflective. And of course, the states with nothing, Utah, 0, 0, 0, 0, 65 to 0 and 0. Is that because Utah doesn't have marijuana or has extremely strict laws on marijuana? Because I do believe that Utah has marijuana smokers. Or do they just have this fictional fantasy that prohibition exists there and they just choose to believe it? Be very interested in knowing what the hell is going on with Utah there. Isn't that a conservative state? Is it that maybe also less DEA money is spent in conservative states than Democratic states? Maybe also less money spent on these eradications, or less money, gotten from these eradications. And supposedly none of these other states have as much marijuana. Really? I doubt that. Maybe not like California, but they still have marijuana. And you're obviously not telling the truth about how much you're really taking out of the market, because it's a very small fraction. Okay. So are these also conservative states that have very liberal gun laws? Just questions. Okay, so I got this story coming out of Fillmore. Now, Fillmore's considering regulating marijuana and taxing it because they're preparing for the legalization of marijuana across the state. Wisdom going on over there, unlike Ventura County. But, of course, now the police have had a major bust that has not resulted in any arrests at this cultivation site, which was legal, in Fillmore. And the residents were, and really all this is just more petty BS. This is the kind of hillbilly shit we have to deal with around here. If the police don't like something, expect there to be some kind of a bust. It's a show. It's theater. It's like what happened in Ojai. They went and busted a collective up there because it's a show of strength. It has nothing to do with law or safety or anything. It's we're in charge and you're going to do what we say. So here they did this bust, and it's not resulted in any sort of arrests. And really, it's just trying to influence the residents on this vote. It's a really creepy, fucking backhanded way for the police to try to influence people's votes. So here's this very interesting story about fear and loathing in Fillmore. Ventura County Star: fear and loathing in Fillmore over marijuana activity. The last straw for Petty King was when they ran over and killed her 2 cats. It was bad enough that cars and trucks drove up and down Grand Avenue all day, but when one of these vehicles fatally struck Petey and Mommy last year, she was not only heartbroken, she was fed up. She and her neighbors had already called authorities about the Hilltop marijuana farm at the end of their 2-lane road, but there seemed to be little response. So when Ventura County Sheriff Office raided the operation last week, she was relieved the noise, traffic, and illicit activity were finally gone. I hated it, she said of the farm, whose 7 white greenhouses could be seen from miles away, their bright lights glowing in the night. We'd been complaining about it for a long time. I'm sure glad they did the bust. The raid on the multi-million-dollar grow just outside Fillmore, and at a time when Fillmore City Council is considering taxing and regulating such grows. What a coinkydink, huh? Huh? Isn't that interesting? Have you ever had a cat run over in your neighborhood? And did the sheriff come out and do a giant raid of the person that hit your cat? Yeah, I've had a cat killed. Nobody went and busted the person that hit my cat. What in the hell is kind of a special place in life does this woman have where they will go and bust a big, huge marijuana operation because of her 2 dead cats? How highly placed is this person? How rich are they? The raid on the multi-million-dollar grow just outside Fillmore, which has not resulted in any arrests yet, come at a time when several marijuana-related issues are confronting the agricultural community of 15,000, whose quaint downtown is often used as a stand-in for Main Street USA in movies, TV shows. Actually, really, there's so much more you should be talking about there about Fillmore. There's like real history, not it's sometimes used for things in movies. If you're in California, probably your small town has been used in a movie. They fucking filmed the Swordfish here. All right. They filmed the 2 Jakes with Jack Nicholson at our courthouse. It is not uncommon to see Malcolm McDowell in Ojai. People are over starstruck. Stop with that shit. Nobody cares about that, really, seriously. The confluence of pot development in town have caused some residents to question the possible effects of crime and adolescent drug use, while others argue the city should be prepared in case recreational marijuana use becomes legal this fall in California. To my mind, the other 2 things are fantasies that people are having, and the reality is it will probably be recreational in marijuana in California. Marijuana will be recreational. What are you going to do about that? Wring your hands and cry? Sit in sackcloth and cover yourself in ashes like in biblical days and whine and moan? Is that what you're going to do? Because that's not leadership. Next Tuesday, the City Council is set to vote on a proposal that would ease restrictions on the cultivation and delivery of medical marijuana, the subject of a public forum last month that drew an overflow crowd to the City Hall. And in November, Fillmore voters will be asked to decide if the city should tax marijuana sales, making it the first city in Ventura County, because Ventura is so backwards and filled with corrupt police officers, Ventura County, to bring the question to its electorate. Fillmore does not allow the cultivation and sale of medical marijuana, which is legal in California, but a measure on the statewide ballot this fall would make marijuana legal for recreational purposes as well. So the city wants to be able to tax sales at a rate of up to 15%, should the law pass. Unlike Ventura, the seat of the county, which cannot figure out what they want to do. Childish little people. Take responsibility. We're passing this law. Stop being a child. This is exactly how you behaved about gay marriage in this area too. Childishly. Childishly. Members are worried about crime rates and juvenile drug use increase in marijuana laws if marijuana laws are loosened, said Tim Hologren, the city planning commissioner, a group founder. About 25 people attended their last meeting, he said. Well, none of those things that they're worried about have been actually scientifically proven in any of the states that have legalized. So whatever you think, backwards people from long, long ago time. This is what annoys me about living in this area. These people are behind the times, majorly. And boy, you can feel it everywhere. It's starting to feel like Ventura proper. The city of Ventura is starting to feel like Santa Ana circa 1981. Like, holy shit. Everything is going to crap. This place looks like a dick now. Why is there a giant 10-foot fencing around the train tracks now with tagging? Whose genius idea was that? You know? Oh my God, this place is starting to look like a shithole. They definitely need the money, but are they going to go get it? No. No, just drive down the main street of Ventura or down towards Ventura High School. Take a look at, like, for instance, the newspaper racks, how rusted and old they are. I remember when they were new, and they haven't been changed in forever. Because nobody fucking buys those kinds of things anymore. Why are they still sitting there? We still have telephone fucking booths in places. Why are they there? Just rotting. And being tagged up and stuck up with stickers. There's a bunch of fucking shit that is not being taken care of. And we could take care of it with tax money, but no. We've got some backwards fucking thinking motherfuckers think they're gonna charge me sales tax to pay for their stupidity? I don't think so, son. I don't think so. Not today. Not ever. You better start using the brain that God gave you. Ugh, this story frustrates the hell out of me. Stupid is as stupid does. Okay, let's see. Jim Kucklish, a resident unaffiliated with Safeguard Fillmore, said he doesn't like the idea of teenagers and children having access to marijuana. That won't happen, so you won't have to worry about it, dumbass. There's a need for it medically, but not close enough to the city where kids can... Is this person insane? Is this person insane? Let's really read what this moron says. There's a need for it medically. But fuck you, patients, because I don't want it close enough for children to ever know it exists. Because the idea that children are going to get into cars and drive to go and steal it. First off, why are children driving? Let's look at this moron's statement. There's a need for it medically, but not close enough to the city where kids, I'm sorry, kids are allowed to drive in Fillmore, can drive out and try it and steal it. Well, I guess if they're illegally driving without a license in Fillmore, so it sounds like your police ought to be fucking patrolling the streets more, they certainly shouldn't be able to drive out and steal it, which if would they steal the car that they're not licensed to drive? What genius is this? What it said Kirklish. Kirklish is a genius. The father of 2 adult children and owner of a boat store in Fillmore. Kirklish is a dumbass if he thinks children under 18 are driving cars. Unfucking believable stupidity coming out of some Fillmore boat owner fucking store, dude. We don't need it going in that direction. What direction? What is wrong with you? You don't, first of all, you don't care about the people on hospice or people with AIDS. You just want to make sure that this fantasy child that you've dreamed up in your head exists and drives cars and steals marijuana plants in the middle of the night. Let me instruct you, Mr. Kirklish. In California, it's illegal to steal. And if it is over $500, it's a felony. If you steal avocados, like a large bunch of avocados, it's like stealing a car in California. It's called Grand Theft Avocado. Let me instruct you on this, sir. If you take something, even if you are a juvenile, over $500, it is a felony. I think stealing the car and driving without a license would also be a big charge. Sounds like Fillmore needs to deal with its children if this is what they're doing, not marijuana. Sounds like better parenting needs to be done in Fillmore, especially around the Kirkledge household. Wow, what is wrong with that guy? What world does he live in? Because it isn't reality. Over at a discount cigarette shop in on Ventura Street, manager Chris Allman said he didn't have a problem with marijuana being grown and used it in his hometown, Everybody who wants to do it is going to do it, he said. I think they should allow people to grow marijuana. They can have regulations, but not criminalize it. For having 2 plants or 3 plants, 6 is what California allows you, dude. And the cities cannot take that back. You are allowed to grow 6 plants in your home. And in Ventura, you are allowed to grow outdoors because this is a rural area where farms are. So telling people that they can't have chickens, 4 chickens to get eggs because they live on a small property, or they can't grow a vegetable garden outside, makes you look like a giant fucking asshole, especially if it's medicine. Boy, what kind of assholes are in Fillmore? Okay, let's see. Leela Alvey, co-owner of Downtown Tattoo Parlor, said she believes marijuana farms like the one in Grand Avenue should be allowed to operate legally with proper permitting and regulations because they can provide jobs. God knows we don't need any money or jobs in this area. Ugh, this is why people like this Kirklish guy are a waste of it just angers me. This is why this entire area is having serious problems with its youth. It's a dead end here if you're not going to college because there's no industry here except for tourism for you to live off of, or oil fields, or something else unsavory. You either work for city or local government, or you're in the military. That's how you survive here. And all of those things are tied to conservatism in many ways, except for education. So the entire area is tainted by these oil fields and military and the attitudes that come out of those places. And many people have been brought up with these attitudes, so they have foobarred themselves now into a logical nightmare where they just can't reason themselves out of anymore because they just are nothing but spewage of propaganda like Mr. Kirklish, who just said a bunch of crazy, stupid shit. All right. God knows Kirklish doesn't care about jobs. He just worries about these underage children driving cars out to steal marijuana. What a fool. There's no jobs here, Alva said. Yeah, that's what Kelly's saying too. I feel like the town needs to grow. Ventura needs to grow, and not in this bullshit way of putting up shitty fucking By the way, good luck with your hillside fucking project there now that we've had an oil spill. I bet all those rich people buying $1 million homes are going to love buying a house that looks down on a black pool that they couldn't remove. Yeah, sometimes I wonder if that was an accident at all. Sure keeps people from encroaching in Hall Canyon, doesn't it? Boom. Okay. There are no jobs here, Alva said, and sometimes it feels like people want to keep jobs out. I feel like this town needs to grow. They're just little Hollywood into film, but they're not letting real jobs in. You see what the fuck? This is exactly, I'm literally saying what this woman is saying over there. It feels like people purposely are shitting on any opportunities for small people to grow in this area. Like the rich are locking in Ventura County for themselves. That's what it fucking feels like around here. filming doesn't create jobs here. It just brings people into town, creating trash, then leaving. Yeah, Ventura has had to clean up huge messes that the film industry has brought. We love having the film industry here, but they will tear the shit out of your house if somebody goes, "You have a lovely home, I'd love to film here." Be careful. They'll fucking put holes in the walls, bring cables through. Once you give them permission to come in your home, they'll tear it to shit. God bless the film industry, but that's the God honest truth. They have to do it to make these amazing films. They are wonderful films, but you better know what you're getting into if you're going to use your town as through Hollywood as advertisement. They'll tear the fuck out of your town. There's a lot of senior citizens here who can't drive 20 miles to the next dispensary. Yeah, I am dealing with a senior citizen. She is 85. We cannot leave every single day. My husband has to go over and check on her and make sure she's okay and take care of her business and pay her bills and do her taxes and deal with the workers working on her house after the car crash and every fucking thing else on earth. And we do not have time to get in a car and drive to Santa Barbara and go perusing through shops. We haven't had a break in 3 years from this. I am very angry at the city of Ventura for not allowing dispensaries. They're going to feel my rage. One of these days, I'm just not going to let up for 10 years about this. You have done massive damage with a business owner in this community. I'll tell you what, right now. You made this process at the end of my mother-in-law's life very difficult because you did not allow dispensaries. You will pay for that. I will hurt you. I will wait. I will vote on something. I will push something because you will pay for this. Like you're not getting that 1 fucking % or whatever 1 cent sales tax out of me. I'm so angry. You don't have the right to behave this way. This makes you scum in my book. Scum. Filthy fucking trash. I totally understand that frustration. These people don't give a fuck about anybody but them damn selves and their own stupid, idiotic fears. Abel said she received much of the same criticisms the marijuana industry is facing when she opened her business 9 years ago. That it would create more crime and be a bad influence on teenagers and children. But as long as she follows the rules and doesn't allow anyone under 18 in the shop, there is no problem. I hope everything changes in November, she said. No, the law will change, but the stupidity of the morons in this area will never end. Never.
Yeah, cornflakes. This looks exactly like cornflakes, right? Nothing wrong with this.
Yeah. The strawberry's not even in the bowl. It's like soup. It's like plastered on there.
Well, I like how it's really just a rip-off.
Oh yeah.
So we have
You definitely want to make this stuff up, right?
Cornflake chicken. Spice up some chicken with the cornflake. That's some 1970s recipes right there, boy. That's old school.
As I was saying, we have to track because I left the part here, so
Oops.
I don't have to take it back until tomorrow.
Oh, good. I was just finishing my show. All right. So that's all my show for today. And hopefully I'll have more marijuana news. But it's very interesting to find out that the backers for Proposition 64 are suing. And that's going to be like a lot of drama, a lot of excitement, and it'll generate a lot of news. And most of that news will probably favor us because they were stupid enough to outright lie. And that makes them vulnerable to attack. And that was a bad idea. Interesting that they made this amazing blunder. You stay high and goodbye. Adios.